Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to welcome all of you to the Insert to Join podcast. Here, we're going to be addressing a lot of streaming and gaming information based around this episode for beginning streaming, focusing on the question on how do I start?
That's a pretty good intro. I like that. All right. But yeah, so
like,
yeah, this
so
is the first ever episode though, guys. So if you don't know, my name is Hoosier Boy. I'm a mixer streamer, and I also do like full-time consulting as an IT consultant. As my profession. And then with us today, is Jonathan, community
what's up?
manager from Visuals by Impulse.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan, obviously, and I am a community manager, like you said, at Visuals by Impulse. We are a graphics design company who does sponsor streamers on Mixer and YouTube. I stream on Mixer and YouTube or not YouTube, but my apologies there. I stream on Twitch for Visuals by Impulse as well as Mixer for myself. And I know that one of the questions that we get a lot in our Discord for VBI, and we hear it a lot in stream. How do you guys start streaming? What do you need, or what should I be doing?
Yeah. So just to be like crystal about it, it's like, this podcast could turn into whatever we want to. I think we want to start out this first episode based around the question that he gets a lot as a community manager, and that we all see as streamers, and even as viewers, you see it in chat. People ask, how do I become a streamer? How do I do what I see these other people doing? And so that's kind of what this first episode is dedicated to, and we'll see where it goes. But later down the line, we may talk more about how you can improve as a streamer. Maybe we'll do these episodes live and we'll get people's feedbacks. This is more of just a pilot run, just to lay it out there. But that's kind of me and Jonathan in a nutshell. This is who we are, and this is what we want to do, and we'll see where it takes us. And if you guys have any feedback, be sure to let us know in either the comments below or in our Discord channels, or wherever you find us. Is what is.
Yeah, absolutely. And to get into it, how do I become a streamer? Now, the easy answer to that is there is no easy answer. It's going to be based on what you have available to you, what you are able to get to increase your stream quality, and what you can afford. There's all sorts of avenues. You can stream directly from your console, which is how I started and how Hoosier Boy started, because I started on my PlayStation. He started out on Xbox. And eventually we both were able to get an actual PC and stream from that.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that a bit, Jonathan, though? Like, how'd you get into streaming, and how'd you get to be a community manager on Visuals by Impulse a little bit?
Well, actually, for me starting streaming, Destiny was coming out. And my very, very first stream was release night.
Oh, wow.
So 3 a.m., September 14th, 2013, when Destiny released on the East Coast, was my very first stream on Twitch.
It's actually a pretty, that's kind of a historical moment to start, streaming, man, because there's a lot of, careers that were made from that. I mean, Destiny Con is like a, huge charity fundraiser. And,
it's actually Guardian Con now, because they wanted to get away from the fact of it being Destiny.
It's more about Guardians.
They wanted it to be about the people, and the things that Guardian Con has done, and the money that they have raised for St. Jude's is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, man. They're led by, quality people, man. I mean, we could talk about them all day, but I'm sure, anybody who knows gaming on Twitch and the Destiny community knows about Gathalion, Broman, Cheriona, man. And then they have the whole Destiny community podcast, which is actually kind of where we got inspiration to do this, man, between the Ask Broman podcast series and the Destiny community podcast series. I mean, it kind of, really got me interested in podcasts in general. So just from a personal standpoint, that's kind of how, we had this discussion of creating a podcast. But that's pretty amazing though, man. Like Destiny 1 was your first starting date.
Yep, absolutely. Now, as far as, me being in the position I am as a community manager with VBI, I was just a lowly nobody in their Discord. I had bought I bought a custom package for an overlay. I was just hanging around the Discord. I was active. I was talking a lot. I was helping out with people. And Zach, our community outreach manager and my direct supervisor, God love him. he scared the living daylights out of me. He he's like, I'm gonna need you to set up some time where you and I can sit down and voice. Like
Just
that's
laying
all
the
he
law,
said.
man. That's what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
that's all he said. And I'm sitting there going, oh my god, he's gonna ban me. Like this isn't cool. What the hell? He's gonna ban me.
Yep.
And
Too much
and
trolling, Jonathan. You really gotta keep it down, man.
Well, at this point, I wasn't actually a troll yet. But
Yeah. I feel like this
so
is like a bunch of foreshadowing for the.
yeah, so yeah, he just kind of he sat down. He's like, so I wanted to extend an offer to you. See if you wanted to join as part of the community management team. Like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, and yeah, the rest is, as they say, history.
Well, that's fantastic, man. I mean, you just got involved in the communities you cared about, and it paid off to be something greater. I think
Yep,
there's
absolutely.
I think that's actually, I think we're gonna come back to that later. I want to jump on that now. But that same testament, there's a lot of people. It's about modship. It's basically the direction I was going with, is moderation. But we'll come back to that later. As far as my story with streaming, though, man, like how I got involved. To be honest, if people don't know, I just recently graduated college, almost a year now, or a year ago. I started streaming. Very first stream ever was April 17th, 2017, and as of today is January 7th, 2018. So when I started streaming, man, it was one of those things where I just got back from like 7 months of internships. Like, I was a senior in college. I stayed like 3 or 4 months in Chicago interning there, and then I turned her back around immediately. Instead of doing a fall semester at IU, like where I was, I did a secondary internship, and I went to Cincinnati, moved down there, and did another internship. So then I came back my spring semester as a part-time, senior student, and just, in your senior year, man, anyone who knows that, if you do it right, you don't really have a senior year. It's, you do all the hard work leading up to your senior year so you can enjoy, your final days at school. And so, I was a part-time student already, when my part-time classes weren't anything difficult. So for me, I just had a bunch of free time, and I was gaming a ton. Still playing Destiny 1 a lot, Into the Grounds, playing a little Titanfall 2 and such. But it was one of those things where I just had so much time gaming, I guilted myself into streaming, being like, man, I'm playing so much, I need to do something productive with this. Might as well just stream it. And it was one of the things, like, I was a long time viewer, man. I named like some, Destiny guys earlier, Gathalion, Broman, etc. And I watched those guys forever, man. And it was one of those things where I knew about streaming. I was a big fan of, as a viewer, but I never even occurred to me until then that, maybe I could try streaming myself. And it really wasn't until Mixer became available, and at the time it was called Beam, but when Beam became available as integrated segment of the Xbox, it really was an eye-opener, because the Twitch UI on Xbox is not fantastic. For anyone who's done it, it's there for people who don't want to pay for anything, and like it's a good tool to really just become a streamer. Like that, that entry to become just a streamer is there. It's a really low bar, but it was just, the UI was just very frustrating for me, and I felt like it was more of a hassle and a detriment to like my mentality to start streaming on Twitch, just because I felt like I wasn't doing well. And it's because the bar was set so high for quality streams. So when Mixer became available, man, I jumped in, and immediately I met some quality people, just down-to-earth dudes just trying to grind it out, like anybody starting out, on a platform that was growing. And after becoming friends with people like Nerd Dad and Far From Idle and Celtic Surfer, just to name a few, and DJ Hero, they really kind of encouraged me to, like, yo, man, you should just do it. Like, if you have an interest in streaming, just do it. And so I did. We just, got started one day. And after making a few friends, like the guys I just named, they all came in there, and, they'd support me and hang out and lurk in my channel, and I'd lurk in theirs, and we'd talk back and forth. And at first it started out as like this thing where we would just, hang out and talk to each other. And then it really just became its own thing eventually, where, people started hanging out longer and more often and wherever. And it built into what it is now. We're, 9 months down the road, and, we're just doing our thing still. But that's pretty much my story, man. It was just too much free time. You can only spend so much of it in college drinking.
Yeah, so, I mean, the reason I actually started streaming Destiny is because I was part of a fairly large clan, and it was a way for other members of the clan to be active in part of the clan, and still be able to see what's going on. And it was a way for us to teach how to do raids, teach how to do strikes. So that's kind of what pushed me to start doing that, because running through the beta, because I was, you got to do one of the strikes. Well, people didn't know how to do it. So what's the best way to actually show them how to do it, because it's hard to explain it? Well, let them watch it, stream it. And that's kind of where it all went bad.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm just joking. But so now because like we said earlier, we started on our console. Like there was there was no sophistication to it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, like maybe people that are just like PC only gamers, or maybe people who still have their Xbox and they just think it's just for games. Xbox and PS4 both have broadcast and share features that extend to the greater things. Like I think on PS4 you can upload like Facebook and such. And
yeah, I mean you can upload, you can connect your Twitter, so when you go live, it'll tweet it out for you automatically. You can connect your Facebook. You can upload stuff directly to YouTube. Say if you make a clip of something you did while you were playing, upload it directly to YouTube and Facebook. And you can connect your Twitch. Unfortunately, you can't connect your Mixer.
It's one of those things
on
where
PlayStation, but that's where the Xbox differs. You can do
that
both.
is a shame though, man. We're like, it's one of the things, like PS4 content is a rarity on Mixer. I think it's just a growing pain. There's PS4 content on there, but it all comes first from PC centric streamers that then have Elgatos or capture cards.
I'll have PS4 content on Mixer, because
I want to, man.
There's a couple games that I'm going to be playing. There's one in particular that I always love playing. It's called Until Dawn. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. If you've never seen it, it is a phenomenal game.
I don't do scary games.
It's not really scary. Like it really isn't. Like there's one or two like jump points, but it's not actually scary. It's not like
says
Outlast.
The guy who speed runs Outlast.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like Outlast.
I totally get you, man. But I totally get you. But no, it's one of those things, man. Like the bar. That's the beauty of it, though. Is anyone can become a streamer. That's our whole point, though. Is anyone can be a streamer, thanks to the advancements that Xbox and Sony have made towards like bringing streaming to everybody. And but here's like the conversation really starts to go, man. Is like people say that and they ask like, how do I become a streamer? And we tell them that and they go, no, like, okay, yeah, I know I can stream like that, but how do I stream like you? And like this isn't like necessarily directed to me, but they're saying like you as in like the quality of stream. They go, yeah, man, like I can stream from my Xbox, no big deal. I know that. I'm not dumb. But like what I want to do is I want custom alerts. I want to have GIFs pop up, and I want interactions on Mixer, and I want overlays like on Twitch, and I want yada, more and more. And that's when things get complicated. And right now, there isn't a good thing on console about it. The quick answer is you just can't on console yet. As of the time of this broadcast, you can't. But it's going that direction where like, people are, asking more for it as it's more available and it's gaining popularity. So who knows down the road, man?
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I wish somebody had told me when I was first starting to stream was, don't worry about all that. Okay, because I'm going to tell you, I know plenty of streamers who started on console with nothing. Like, just all they did on Twitch was they just wrote whatever they wanted in their information. They didn't have any panels. They didn't have some amazing alerts that popped up on stream. And you know what? They had thousands of followers.
Yeah, no, I had several friends, man,
and got partnered.
Yeah.
Without all of that. Okay. I'm going to drop a name here. Okay. Sh55. Okay. If you've never seen her stream on Twitch, she started out Destiny, nothing on her. She got partnered before she ever got a PC. So, yeah, she had a PlayStation camera and a game, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think it's one of those things, man, where like mentality and just like interaction and just authenticity stand out more than production quality. And I mean, like, hell,
The
you know, I
the
just streamed
real
tonight, man, where
quality.
half my stuff didn't even work. But, you know, there's still people there. They want to see content. They want to see something. So you just give them what you have. And then sometimes it's just your personality. Sometimes it's just, you know, a shit-eating grin and, you know, maybe some funny gameplay or some quality gameplay. You know, you don't need all the bells and whistles to really get going, but people think that because that's what they see, you know, Summit doing. That's what they see Broman doing. That's what they see, you know, Lyric doing. These are like, you know, top content creators that are really paving the way of justifying streaming as a career. And people are like, yo, man, I want to do what that guy's doing just as well, if not better. So how do I get to that point? And for those who don't know, the things they have going on there, the alerts and notifications, those come from apps like Streamlabs and StreamJar. And I think there's even other ones out there nowadays that I'm not aware of. Those are the two I've had personal experience with. And
StreamJar. Oh my god, that's such a nightmare.
yeah, I'm not gonna slam them, man, but they haven't treated me well personally. Just the you know, it always feels like it's leaving me. But what they do really well, what I will say in their defense, is even though their bot doesn't stay connected to my chat, they do give you really good access to creating overlays, super easy. Because if those don't know, OBS and XSplit are your primary streaming software through PC. If you don't stream from like a console, it's basically just industry standard. You use OBS, which is free, stands for Open Broadcast Software, or you use XSplit, which is like a licensed product that you pay to use. And both have their benefits, both are great. It's really just user preference and, you know, like what you can afford. But when you use those products, you have to use things like browser sources, which are like links that you can tag in like images and URLs and websites and such. So in a single browser source, you can put in all your overlays, all your whatever through StreamJar or Player.me. Player.me has the same thing. You can do that.
Player.me is actually owned by the same people that own XSplit.
Really? Is that, I knew they were integrated closely. They've been really closely with Mixer.
They're both owned by Strexum, which is another like it's a graphics design company.
Okay.
Or rather, I'm sorry, XSplit owns Strexum and Player.me. It's the other way around.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean they're
yeah, they have tools there though that like allow you to basically take like all like the several layers of overlays that people used to do and like how I started out as, and you can make them all in one fine area and use one URL to post that into XSplit or OBS. And actually, no, you got a perfectly good, you know, overlay setup for, you know, if you're PC streaming. And I think that's phenomenal. I think people need to go that direction where like they're taking things that are like crazy complicated and they make them easier. Another tool that does that really well, I think, is the Elgato Stream Deck. You know, I think it's another tool that really lowered.
Yeah, that thing is so useful.
I don't have one yet, man. I'm trying.
Like, I wish I had one.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, $150 it's hard to justify.
Yeah, imagine, and for those who don't know, man, imagine spending $150 and you basically get your own personal assistant. And what I mean by that is you have like a tool in front of you that is as useful as you want to make it. You can basically make it so you can change scenes on your stream instantly. You can kick off sound effects if you're a Mixer streamer. You can kick off interactions and things like that. And you can tweet out your stream. I mean, it's literally having an assistant. You push a button, it does the thing. It's beautiful. And I think arguably people will say it's one of the single best like technology tools you can have for a stream outside of like, you know, your audio hardware. But I think it's phenomenal. But like that's the whole point though, is like, you know, streaming can be that complicated and there's tools there to make the whole process easier. But the key point is you don't need all that, you know, like all that stuff's there and it's awesome and we love talking about it because it's super exciting.
So when you got into PC streaming, what kind of computer did you have?
The same computer I got now.
Oh, is it? So you're actually streaming on the very first computer that you started with?
Yeah, very first thing, day in, day out. The only thing I've added to it is like an external hard drive. But I wasn't a PC gamer, you know. I was a console gamer my entire life, you know. I grew up playing Pokemon on Game Boy Color, Super Nintendo, N64, you know what I mean? Like, we just worked our way up from then.
Yep.
Because those, just to put it in perspective, only 23 years old. So, you know, I wasn't there for like the original Nintendo, and even the Super Nintendo was like right around my release.
That was me.
Yeah, so it was one of those things, man, where it's, you know, I grew up on console games, but it's also because PC gaming wasn't realistic at the time. Like, and I don't mean realistic like graphics. What I mean like is affordability.
The actual like mid '90s.
Yeah.
With Doom and Quake.
Yeah, people always talk about that, man, and games I missed out on. But
those were the original FPSs.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, I grew up on just consoles day in day out. So and like, it was towards like the end of high school. You know, I had a few friends that had gaming computers, and they were telling me, you know, PC Master Race and whatnot. But it really wasn't a factor for me until PUBG. If you know, I'm sure everyone knows by this point, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That started gaining a lot of hype before its release in March of 2017, and people were talking about it. You know how good it was in the beta and alpha, and like it still had bugs, not issues, but it was exciting. It was something different in the battle royale genre. And so as that started gaining hype, and I had friends talking about it, I really started looking into it. And then streaming came in, you know, shortly after that whole, you know, conversation. So after streaming on console for, you know, 2 months, I think it was about 2 months, and I really drew the line. I was like, you know, I broke a couple hundred followers in a couple months. I really enjoy streaming. I'm ready to take it to the next level. I'm just gonna say, screw it. I have money. I'm gonna buy a laptop, or I'm gonna buy a desktop because I already had a laptop, and I'm just gonna do it. So, you know, I bought all the parts over time a little bit. It took a little bit to get everything, man. Best advice if you're building a PC, don't buy all your parts at the same time. Buy them when there's good deals and you see them. But yeah,
So
do the same.
what do you have in your computer?
Yeah.
What are you running?
I run a Ryzen 7 1700 CPU. I run a RX 480 8GB overclocked like MSI edition graphics card. That one was actually like a hand-me-down from a buddy, so I don't have all the details on it. I just know it's a 488 GB. And then I have 16 gigs of RAM, G-Skill. I think the timing's like 3200 or 3000 because Ryzen does really well with high timings, but I haven't quite figured it out because I'm still new to PC gaming and I stopped caring about it. But I think it's time to like 2666. And other than that, man, it's just like, you know, I have a SSD in there for games and I have an HDD in there for files, and you know, outside of that, man, that's pretty much it. You know, just fan cooled, nothing fancy. So you know, it's a decent rig, man, and you know, I got it for good deals. But it's nothing like, you know, it's not like it's the best rig in the world.
It's not my PC.
What's your PC? What do you got there, Your Majesty?
I definitely have. I mean, I've got an NVIDIA 1080.
Oh, well, okay.
Which is what I use to stream from through OBS. I don't stream from my CPU. I stream from my GPU.
I forgot that's even a possibility through NVIDIA.
Yeah. So, and then I've got an i6700K. It's not overclocked. I could if I wanted to, but I really don't need to. If I were CPU streaming, I probably would. But I've got a 256 SSD and a 1 terabyte HDD.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got a computer that I'm not going to have to upgrade for years. But I'm going to tell you, you don't need all of that to be able to stream.
Yeah, I mean, your graphics card alone is like 3 times, if not like, you know, more better than it's, you know, it performs way more exceptionally than my graphics card. But our streams, I feel like, are very comparable, you know, as far as like, you know, maybe I run my PC into the ground, or I run my computer into the ground, but the output is still very similar. And I mean, so I'm not gonna ask you how much you paid for yours, but I'm just saying, when
we're not talking price.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking price. I'm just saying that all I want to say about it was that PC gaming is already expensive enough. You try to make something that's stream, you know, exceptional and can game exceptionally, you're talking very expensive price, and you don't need that.
Because I'm using a single PC setup instead of a dual PC setup.
Yeah.
So I needed something that would be able to handle both, and keep the quality up.
Actually, want to talk about that though, the dual PC setups, because you know, some of the major streamers I've heard mention that they have 2 PCs. But you know, like how, and I've looked it up on Twitch and how it works, and really it's just one's is like my PC, where it captures gameplay like if I was streaming on console through a capture card, but the capture card isn't capturing a console, it's capturing a secondary PC.
Correct.
So that's the process there. If you imagine it like that, just imagine streaming console, but instead of the console at the end, it's another computer. But what's the benefit of that for the, you know, everyone who needs to hear more?
The benefit is, when you're streaming from this PC and gaming on this PC, you're putting less strain on both pieces of equipment. You can up your quality on the game to as high as you want, because when you recapture it through OBS and through the capture card, you're going to downscale it. So like you can, like, you know, a lot of people they'll play a game at 1080, Well, if you've got a gaming PC that can play at 1440, then you can actually play the game on 1440 and then capture and downscale to 1080 or 720 without any degradation in
like quality
in the
or
broadcast.
production both ways. Yeah. So
exactly.
yeah, just basically two dedicated machines, one for gaming, so you're not sacrificing those precious frames per second.
And the other thing, so let's talk. Okay, let's go back to PUBG. Okay, because this is a problem with the optimization in the game. Okay, the crashes. when
what
a
crashes? No, that game's phenomenal. It's perfect. What are you talking about?
Esports ready. So when the game crashes, you don't have to like end stream if the whole thing freezes up. Like, or if there's a problem and your other PC freezes up, you don't have to end stream to fix it and come back. You can stay there, you can fix it and make sure you're talking to your community, that they know what's going on, because transparency with your community is always key.
Yeah, and we can talk more about that later, as far as like leading a community and what that means as far as like once you start gaining traction or how to gain traction. But no, absolutely, man. Like that sounds like a 2 PC setup basically just takes something that you can do in one PC, but it breaks into 2 parts to do 2 parts exceptionally. And that's something
there's no loss.
Yeah, and I think that's phenomenal. And I was always jealous when I started hearing about people, because I was like, when I started, I was like, yeah, first I'm gonna start off with streaming through a console, and then I'm gonna bring my laptop into it, which I did for a little bit, before I got my full PC.
That's exactly what I did. I mean, I had a little piece of crap Sony Vaio that had a built-in integrated like gaming video card that let me be able to capture my capture my gameplay from my PlayStation using the PlayStation Remote Play.
Yeah, actually I did the same thing, but on Xbox. They have an Xbox app where you can capture your gameplay through the app alone as a program on your computer or laptop, and then you just run a display capture through that. So I did that for a while too, man, because like before I had this PC, I had a kick-ass laptop, and I was like, yo, man, like I want to do better than just console gaming. So I have this laptop here. I'm gonna run it, and it was just like an i5 processor, nothing like crazy. It was a laptop.
Yeah,
no dedicated graphics card, nothing I could game on, exceptionally. But it was enough to get by on a stream, enough to run a couple programs and put in alerts and stuff. So I did that. I captured my stuff wirelessly, no capture card, and it wasn't great. Sometimes it was laggy, and sometimes it failed. But it was back to that key point where you don't need all the bells and whistles to succeed. You just have to have a personality that fits the community you're trying to build.
Yeah. So and if you're gonna stream, and that brings to the point that you don't need a giant powerhouse of a computer to be able to stream as well. all you need is minimum on your card right now in your PC. If you're gonna use one, a 1050, an NVIDIA 1050, or even a GTX 970 will do you perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't really know the specs and all that, but
no issues at all. Okay, an i5 or an i6 CPU. You don't need an i7. Okay, it's overkill. It'll help you. It'll make things easier for you, but the issue you're going to run into is that your average Joe person doesn't have the bandwidth on a home internet network.
Oh, that is a big point of it, bit rates and such.
Yeah, to be able to watch a full 1080p stream. It doesn't work. You're going to get a lot of buffering. People aren't going to be able to see or hear what you're saying because you're cutting in and out because you're buffering all the time. So using OBS or using XSplit, you always want to downscale your output 720. It gives people the ability to buffer and keep up with your stream.
Yeah, that's a good factor for starting out, but obviously for some people, or some platforms, you may be able to like filter through quality and basically adjust from 1080 to 720 to whatever else they have optional.
Yeah, I mean it's always best when you're starting out to keep your stream broadcasted out at a lower quality.
Yeah, I guess the key factor you're saying there is it's better to be consistent and be live than to risk, someone not be able to find you because they can't keep up with your quality production.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's a big factor there, and we can get the details of that, like how to make sure that happens and to be available. But the biggest thing there is being consistent as just in scheduling. If you say you're going to be live at 7 p.m., and I struggle with this every single time, so I'm using me as an example. Yeah, if you guys don't know, Jonathan's one of my mods, and he's always like, "Yo, you actually going live today at 7 or what?" And so my way around it, yeah, 7. I leave it at ish. I say everything's an ish, but yes, it's a big thing, man. Like people expect you at 7, and people will give you like 10-15 minutes, but when you're gonna be later, you got to be open about it. So I'm always in my Discord saying, "Hey guys, sorry, got caught up at work. Hey, sorry, got dinner, paying the bill now, whatever." Or sorry guys, overslept, whatever, if it's a weekend or something. And then, even the Discord community, I'm branching out on Twitter, and I'm like, hey guys, sorry, running late, do the thing later. I'll be live in, 15 minutes later. It's just about being consistent. And when you can't be consistent, it's about being, very transparent with everything. Like, hey guys, communicate the process. Like, hey guys, I know I'm not going to be live at 7. I apologize. I'm doing the thing. I've even gone to the extent of going in my own chat, and I post in chat, and I'm like, hey guys, running late. Because a lot of people don't follow me on Twitter. A lot of people aren't in the Discord. To put it in perspective,
not everybody has social media.
Yeah, exactly. But to put it in perspective, I have 5,000 followers on Mixer, almost, 4,800 something. But I have almost 5K followers on Mixer, but I only have like 700 followers on Twitter or something like that. And I only have a couple hundred on Insta, and then I only have 300 members in Discord. So even all that math, that doesn't add up. So there's still 5K on an audience on Mixer that has the potential to get notified through Mixer when I'm live, and they're not going to see these things. They may come in and be like, yo, who just says he's going to be live at 7? He's not here, screw him. And they're going to dip. And they're going to find the next guy who's actually on time. So consistency is key, man. And the big thing is, especially when you're growing and building, if people don't know when you're going live, or people don't know when to expect you, they aren't going to care. And it's not like it's a rude thing. It's just literally, you got to think of your streaming and your goals as a streamer, okay? Because if you just want to stream for fun so your friends can watch your gameplay because you're amazing or you suck and it's funny, it's whatever, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I guess this advice more is tailored to people who want to make something, like make their streaming maybe a brand, or, think about it that way. If you think of it as a brand, then you're technically an entrepreneur by every single right of it. And if that's the case, then everyone is not only your competition, but also could be, your partner in crime in the content you're creating. So with that said, be on time, because if you're not, somebody else will be, and it's gonna benefit them.
Yep, that one viewer could be the difference in the long run.
Yeah, we were talking about that before, how one viewer in a unsaturated directory, especially in Mixer, one viewer could put you just that much ahead of somebody else. And next thing you know, if they're looking for the first person in the directory and they see you have 2 compared to somebody else's 1, and they click on that guy of 2, now that guy has 3, somebody else comes in, so it's 4 and 5, and it builds and builds and builds. And it means a lot, man, when those numbers, everyone adds up. Every viewer matters to a certain extent. And
it doesn't matter how big you are. One viewer is always the difference.
Let me rephrase this, though, because I think we're building a wrong structure here, where every viewer matters, all viewers matter, because they do. Because a viewer is a person, and every person matters to a certain extent. Unless that person is garbage, then screw that person. You're here to build a community and take care of yourself. So what I'm saying here is
put the trolls back under the bridge.
So the example I'm giving here is that every viewer matters when they're a quality person, but when you have an absolute shithead in there that's just trying to bring everyone down, and they're just like, yo, bro, you suck at the game, and you're just putting up with being harassed. No, screw that. Get rid of that dude. He's toxic. You don't need it. So, if someone's coming in and they're being, productive in chat, build on that.
Those people can ruin your chance at getting the next person in.
That is true. If you put up with someone being toxic and someone genuine comes in, they might be like, yo, man, because that's something I struggled with when I first started streaming, man, was how to deal with,
Trolls.
Wanting to gain a following. Well, it was like that, too, but it was more like if it was just one guy, or let's say this, now that my viewership's gained to the point where my average viewership is maybe around 20 to 30 people. I'd say any given stream, it's pretty, I'm pretty expected to get around 20, and then, it dips lower, and that's fine. It dips higher, that's cool. But, I'd say around the ballpark at 10 to 30, it's where I'm at. And so, I'm not nearly as focused on trolls because I have my core, my family of, that 20 viewers. But when I was starting out, dude, when I started streaming, over the summer, every viewer mattered to me, especially when I was getting traction. I broke my first K in a few months, and I was like, yo man, I can make this a thing. I want to make the top as fast as I can. I want to get partnered on Mixer as fast as I can. And I noticed that to get there, I was willing to compensate by just putting up with being treated like shit by certain viewers. They'd come in there and they'd be like, yo man, you're absolutely dog shit at this game. They were like, I can do this. I could, kill you in circles. And I would put up with that because I wanted their viewer, right?
Yeah, I do want to point out though, you said that you got your first 1,000 followers in just a couple months.
It took me like 4 for being technical.
But yeah, I mean, just a few months. Okay, so that's not usual. Okay, that's not how it's going to happen for a lot of people. For the majority of the people, you're going to fight to get your first 100 followers in that period of time.
Well, maybe, man.
Well, Mixer's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's the kind of direction I was going with it.
But like with if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, it's a fight.
Oh, absolutely. But I think
18 months I had on Twitch, and I didn't break 600.
Yeah, so I think that's a discussion about different markets, man. Because if you talk to Bailey Bomb spent 2 years on Twitch, and he's quadrupled his success on Mixer.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, though, if you guys don't know, like the whole conversation here is the experience in a growing market, which is Mixer, and that's where I stream now. That's my experience in a growing market. I was able to hit 1,000 followers in 4 months by making some adjustments and just streaming, whatever. And like that's awesome, but I'm not God's gift to streaming. That's not.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just don't want the people to, it's like, okay, it's been 4 months and I still only have 600 followers, or I only have 700 followers.
Well, I think that's a good.
But I don't want people to get discouraged if they don't get that.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue into the point of.
They need to understand that it's the long run, and focus on ahead and how to fix it and get to that.
Yeah, but I think the point that we're talking about here is like we haven't talked about it yet, but don't compare yourself to any other content creator in the world, because some people are gonna hear that you heard that 4 months I hit a K, and that's insane. But what if I told you that someone surpassed me in 6 weeks? You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Like people here's the thing is like people think they hear, oh, this guy got 1,000 followers in like 4 months. That's insane. I literally had friends double my following in half the time. And it's because they're kick-ass people, they're quality gamers, quality content creators, and for whatever reason, they came in at a perfect time and they they blew up. And not to take away their success, but it's one of those things like you can't compare yourself to anybody else. And period. It's one of those things like you can strive to be as successful as somebody. You can be like, yo man, I want to be the next Scythe who gets 100,000 followers on Mixer. I want to break those milestones with people. But what you can't say is I want to be like Scythe. I want to be Scythe. Because that's not something you can accomplish. There's only one Scythe in the world. There's only one Bailey Bomb. There's only one Who's Your Boy, Infctdgrndzro. There's only one person in the world that's going to be excelling at that
Use
person.
Those people as inspiration.
Yeah.
Not imitation.
Yeah, and the reason is if you don't do it that way, if you think, yo man, if I do everything just like Scythe, why don't I have 100K? You're going to be really disappointed. And it's one of those things
because honestly, if you're trying to do everything just like X streamer, I would rather watch X streamer than somebody who is trying to imitate that person.
Yeah, but it's even then, man. Like if you can't be setting goals. Like I think most people they won't copy somebody like that because I think most people understand that's just not gonna work. They may take inspiration and do something very similar to somebody else, but most people won't just straight up copy. But the biggest issue is that they'll see how fast someone's growing. Yeah, I mean that's the point. But they'll see how fast someone's growing, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, man, why is so and so blowing up like out of nowhere?" Like a lot of people ask like, "Yo, Jared FPS blew up from 12,000 to like 40,000 people in the span of like 2 months, man. It was phenomenal." But then like the conversations that sparked from his growth were were surprisingly negative, and not directed at him. It was directed to themselves. They were like, yo man, what is Jared doing so right that he's blowing up, and why am I failing? And that mentality of if I'm not like so and so, then I'm a failure, that is just self-destruction, and it's absolutely toxic. And if you think like that, you're not going to succeed. period.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you just have to make sure that when you're you're live for yourself, not for the person in the channel next to you.
Yeah, or don't. And like that's, I think the part we're getting into now is like goals. Like, why do you stream? Every content creator ever is gonna tell you that you should stream because you enjoy it, and you should stream because it's your dream and you love it and everything, and that's great, like that, and that's the truth. And stream because you have a passion for, as a content creator. Stream because you give a shit about, like building a community. Don't stream because you see a paycheck at the end of the end of the light and you see yourself playing video games to pay the bills. That's not, not everyone can do that. And obviously I don't know the statistics behind that. The stats I do know are, provided by Broman, who apparently got statistics from Twitch, is that people give up streaming in 3 months. They do that because it's difficult. Your average person is going to give up content creation in 3 months because this isn't for everybody. Not everyone should be a streamer, and not everyone can be the top dog.
Yeah, and if you look at myself, look at Who's Your Boy here, we both have a career outside of streaming. We're not trying to make our livelihood on this right now. Like Who's Your Boy said earlier, he's an IT consultant. His job sometimes requires him to travel out of state and away from home. Well, at those points, he's not going to be able to stream. Okay, myself, I work for Audi in a parts department at a dealership. I'm there 6 days a week most times. So I have limited time to be able to stream, but it's not my goal to get a paycheck out of it. My goal is to find a community that I enjoy streaming with, to find a community in chat that enjoys being there and likes my content, and to be able to just have fun in general. Okay, and that's where I started to go wrong when I was streaming on Twitch, because I was getting frustrated that I was in a directory that was small and didn't have a lot of traction. So I wasn't seeing a lot of people coming in and wasn't having a lot of fun.
Yeah, like, a lot of people get stuck on like the return on investment sort of thing. They're like, yo man, I'm streaming 40 hours a week on top of my 40-hour job. Why am I not seeing a return on investment? And there's 1,000 reasons why things don't work out. You could say it's timing. You could blame the developers for, not making changes, or supporting games and stuff like that. Like I've heard people make that argument. They're like, yo, man, if the developers gave a shit and they fixed the game like I thought so, man, I'd be the best ever. But like, there's 1,000 reasons why people, like don't take off streaming. And the biggest thing is like, I think it's mindset. People focus on the numbers. People focus on, like whatever that goal is that they say they made it so if they don't keep hitting that, then they suck.
And that was where I went wrong. Is I was so because at this point, I was also part of the Twitch affiliate program, which, for anybody that doesn't understand that program, it is kind of like a junior partnership. You can get people subscribed to you. You can get bits donations, which is an in-house Twitch currency, and you can get emotes on there. Well, I was part of that program, and I wasn't seeing people coming in. People weren't donating with bits. I wasn't seeing any money. I mean, I was looking at it like it was a financial need to be able to survive in the streaming community, so that I could continue to do that. Well, I was 100% wrong. I was so focused on the numbers that I got so discouraged with myself and with my channel that I stopped streaming for almost 3 weeks. And then it hit me. Why am I focused on this? Why do I care about the numbers? It's like I didn't start this because of money. I didn't start this for the numbers. I did it to have fun. So to remove that pressure from myself, I emailed Twitch and told them, remove me from your program. I do not want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Never heard someone
and
like actually refusing affiliateship or rescinding affiliateship.
and,
But
and it, yeah, I mean, but it was the right move for me because it took away that pressure, that
carrot on a
added
stick that you're chasing.
exactly, and it left everything bare and open for me to see what I actually wanted to be doing.
Yeah, and sometimes you need that though, man. You know,
Yeah, I
like
mean, that
yeah, I
it
guess I
just
had a similar epiphany a while back. For those who don't know, I applied for partnership with Mixer as of like October 2017. Because you know we were doing really well and things were going solid, and people are telling me you should apply, and some people thought I already applied. Like people thought they were like they come in and be like, "Yo, who's your boy? Why aren't you partnered yet? Why aren't you doing these things?" And I was like, "Yo, man, I didn't really think about it. I didn't think I was big enough. You know, like compared to all my friends that were partnered, I was like, yo, I didn't think I was quality enough." But people were like, "Yo, you should do it." So I did it and was denied for whatever, you know, for the reasons I know personally. But you know, if you want to know, they can talk to me about it personally. But you know, I was denied, and that broke me for a minute, dude. To be completely transparent about it, and it was because you know people are just like, "Yo,
yeah, I
who's your
mean,
boy? You should be partnered, man. Like, dude, you should
that's
totally
right. That
apply."
was yeah. I mean, that was that's right when I met you.
Right about, I think it was right after that I
Yeah,
started
it was
looking at
like
VBI,
right. Yeah, it was like
but yeah, I mean, the whole reason, you know, I mean, to be honest, probably the reason I applied at VBI or started looking at VBI was because I was like, yo, man, if I get partnered, I can use that to start, you know, doing more for my channel. And because, like, what I didn't do is I wasn't a guy who did giveaways. And giveaways are, you know, a big thing to grow your stream and do stuff. And
but
that thing
that can create toxicity.
and that's the main reason I didn't do it, but also, like, I couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? So if I was like, yo, man, if I make partnership, maybe I can become marketable where people want to invest in me and give me things to give away. And maybe this way it's something I can do to give back to the community. Well, you know, so I started reaching out to people, and like I got a lot of no's. They were like, yo, man, if you're not partnered with Mixer, we don't want to talk to you. And it wasn't like that. It wasn't like just Mixer. They're like, yo, if you're not partnered, then, you know, you're not ready for us. Like a few people came back and said that, and I mean, I don't blame them necessarily. You know, I'm an investment. They need some sort of guarantee, a portfolio, you know, proof of, you know, that I am some form of quality and I can return on invest, and like, you know, here's some guarantee that I would be a quality return on investment. And when I got denied, dude, it broke me for a minute, dude. I was still streaming. I didn't give up streaming, and I streamed every day after that. But it was one of those things where I was like, it was different. It was different because I was like, yo, man, all these people thought I was quality, and then Mixer didn't think I was quality. So where am I as a content creator? Do I think I'm good? Do I think I'm bad? Am I doing this for the right reasons? And what I realized was I started out just wanting to play Destiny, dude. I just wanted people to play Destiny with because it was year 3 of the game and I needed friends. I had too much time on my hands. I was like, I streamed for the right reasons, and I think I built my community on the right reasons. And then when partnership became this possibility, I think I totally just turned it into a numbers game. And, you know, people have come back at the channel now and they ask, like, hey, man, are you still playing with viewers as much as you used to? I still play with viewers, but it's not like it used to be where I ran a queue system and everyone only got 2 games because I was all worried about getting the most people in to play, because every person to play, to join the queue, you had to be a follower. So it was like the quickest way to build numbers, and it was a really shitty way to grow, personally. And reflecting back on it, I think my single biggest regret was allowing myself to give into that and, like, you know, be like, yo, man, I just want to grow, so I'm just gonna, you know, put requirements to follow me on my channel, and I'm gonna do this thing because, and I wasn't the only person doing this, but it wasn't good for me. And like where it put me at was this false sense of security that, yo, just because like all these people are coming in to play with me, this is awesome, and this is what I want. But it ultimately was a short-sighted, you know, goal and a short-sighted
and that's another point, that not every tactic that's used to grow a stream will work for everybody.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's it. For instance, I want to talk about follow for follows. A lot of people, dude. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I don't want to dog it because I've seen some people make it work, but I think for you know, out there, dude, I think follow for follows are another short-sighted way to grow. I think what they do is they put you into a funnel where you're gonna have maybe this huge following, but they're not gonna interact with you. They're gonna just be another number. So if you want to see your channel grow in numbers, follow for follow, sure, do it. But if you want to build a community and you want to make friends,
you want quality.
You want
quality.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, man. Is, you know, like, it's numbers are exciting. You know, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was pumped when I broke 1,000. Hell, I was pumped when I broke 10, and I was pumped when I broke 100. But, you know, like, those first 100 that I got were some of the most, like, invested viewers I've ever had. And, you know, for whatever reason, some of them don't come around as often. But I still think back to, you know, those games. Like when I was playing with viewers then, I wasn't just playing with viewers for numbers, man. I was playing with friends. And like that was what was important. And that was what was awesome as a streamer. And I think that sort of interaction, that relationship that I felt that we were building together with me and my viewers, that's why I kept streaming. And that's why I stream today, man. You know, meeting you and meeting, you know, people like Miss Ann and In Amity's Wake and Bailey Bomb and DJ and Bunker and Crypto. And these are all, you know, mods of my channel and friends of mine. But meeting people
don't forget the amazing mistress.
Yeah, mistress and everybody. I mean, I could go on and on, man. This would be, this would go from a podcast to a shout out stream in a second.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
But,
yeah, I mean, I mean, it's like when I because I was streaming on Twitch, like I said, for almost 18 months. Like, because when I first started streaming in Destiny, I kind of stopped streaming after the Taken King. And then I started streaming again, like actually like full time as a thing, about 18 months ago. Really started taking it serious. Got my PC about a little over a year ago. Sometime it was like November of 16 is when I actually got my PC.
Yeah.
When I switched to Mixer, before I did, you know, and you're talking about, you know, going around and seeing all these people, you know, and you want to build a quality networking, which is a conversation for another day. But before I even had my first official Mixer stream, I had 22 followers because of networking, and that's how you start.
Yeah, and
that's how you build quality.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think we're kind of coming out of our time. We're like, you know, we talked about we want to keep this podcast around an hour, and the topic we're coming into could be a subject on its own.
And that's that. Yeah, I was saying that's absolutely day. But it's and it will probably have like a full episode specifically dedicated just to networking because of how intricate and how important it is.
Yeah, and the highlight of networking though, guys, is, you know, like if you've never properly networked before, like in my case, you know, I interned for, you know, 7 months for different companies or 6 months for different companies. And, you know, I applied to career fairs and, you know, we all got jobs, professionalism. Networking in that space feels like, you know, like you're just meeting someone who might put you in a position to, you know, jump you somewhere else. Like it's a stepping process is what it feels like. It feels like a bunch of stepping stones and you're just climbing up the ladder to get to the next ring. But when you're networking and content creation, it's not like that. This isn't a business mindset because not everybody wants that. So you have to think of networking as like making friends. And like it's something that I've heard a lot from Broman. It's something I hear a lot from, like, you know, some people on Mixer. But it's that networking shouldn't be this. It doesn't have to be the super formal thing where you guys like schedule a meeting with so-and-so's bullshit assistant and you guys are like, yo, let's sit down and talk statistics. I'll host you a day, you host me a day. It's not like that. You know, it's not that formal. It might be to somebody. Sure, hell is where I'm at. But what it really is, it should feel like making friends. You know, like you shouldn't, like if you see like, you know, for theoretically, let's see that somehow you get the opportunity to talk to Summit 1G, okay? 2 million some followers, and like that's an opportunity to grow and like whatever. But if you don't like want to associate with Summit per se or his community, then you should not be looking to network with Summit. Because, you know, the thing is, like, you know, he's a quality content creator. He's got quite a huge following. If he wanted to, you know, he could build some hype and interest anyone's way he wanted to. The thing is, though, is if you don't want to be a part of that person's community, don't look to be networking with them per se. Or if you don't want to collaborate with somebody, then don't look to use them, because people will see through that shit. They're gonna know if someone's trying to use them.
Find people you want to share your community with and hope that they will share their community with you.
Yeah, I think a great example of that, man, and like I hope no one minds that we're using their names, but Bailey Bomb and Poon, Emperor Poon. Both partner streamers on Mixer, both awesome people. I think they tailored to 2 different demographics of audience. But for a while, man, they did duos together in PUBG religiously for weeks. And like I talked to Bailey about it later, and I was like, hey man, how are the games with Poon? How's it going? And he would tell me, yo man, it's going great. You know, I think our communities are really getting along together. And it's because Poon and Bailey are just both like authentic and no bullshit people, and their communities, you know, got to that. So I think even though Poon's crowd is more unfiltered, I'll say, and Bailey's crowd, you know, is Bailey's crowd, I think like they got along because of the way they did it and the way they encouraged each other, because Bailey and Poon are friends, so they build that relationship together as buds. The community's got along great. But if you try to just pair just any Joe Schmo with any other somebody else, just because they have numbers together, you won't see the same quality return on investment. And a personal example of that is how I don't know how many times I played with somebody and I've enjoyed playing with them, and I go, hey man, I hope to see you back sometime, I appreciate playing with you, thanks for the games. And they're like, hey man, can we co-stream sometime? Because if you guys know, co-stream is a feature on Mixer where if someone comes to my URL, they'll not only see my stream, but they'll see my co-host stream. So if me and Jonathan were co-hosting or co-streaming, you would come to Jonathan's channel and see me and Jonathan. You come to my channel, you see me and Jonathan. It's a good way to build hype with somebody else. If you want to if you want to build your friend up, great way to co-stream. If you want to build each other up, I really encourage co-streams for people who are starting out streaming. Because streaming can be scary by yourself, but if you stream with with a buddy, it's a great way to build.
It's a great way. Yep, it's a great way to get comfortable with streaming. It's a good way to get comfortable with the community and dealing with it. So, but back, to kind of back up a little bit, when you're starting streaming, because that's what this whole thing was about.
Yeah. And that's the point I'm making though, is I don't know how many times I've had someone ask me, hey man, how can I start streaming? I'm like, okay, you can stream from your Xbox, dude, do it. And they go, yeah, but I don't get any viewers. Can I co-stream with you? And it's such a bad way to start a conversation. Because here's the thing, if someone
it is. I mean, you need to be respectful when you're coming up and trying to get somebody to help support you.
And the thing is, I know some of these guys,
but again, that gets back into proper network.
Yeah. It should feel like making friends. And when you put it like that, when you frame it in that mindset of can I co-stream with you? And when you have nothing, when you haven't started streaming at all yet, and you ask someone to co-stream with you, it comes off the fact of, hey, I have nothing, you have something I want, give me that thing. Let me use you to benefit, and that's what it feels like. And not everyone means it that way, so I don't criticize people when they say it, and I don't, shit on people when they mention it like that, but that's absolutely what it feels like. And so what I encourage everyone to do is you need to start out streaming for yourself, by yourself, or with a buddy through co-streaming, but you need to target your audience as something you create from scratch. And or your stream is on its own. Maybe not your community won't get built, but maybe your stream production is something you work on and you build that from scratch.
Now when you're like you said, you want to be streaming, if you're going to do it by yourself, if you're going to get yourself comfortable with streaming, one of the things that you need to do is never shut up.
Oh,
because a stream where there is somebody who is not talking, especially if you're streaming from console with no camera, there's zero interaction with it, and nobody is going to want to sit in your channel. So whether you've got 0 people in your channel or you've got 1,000 people in your channel, you need to be talking. Okay, you need to stream like you have 1,000 people in your channel.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, if somebody just wants to watch gameplay, they can go to YouTube and they can watch a guy do it just as much, if not better.
People are coming to live broadcasts because they can interact with the caster and get information. So you need to be talking. You need to be giving some sort of interaction, even if there's nobody there. And that is going to get you being comfortable with being on stream. Just sit there and talk, whether you're talking about what you're doing in the game or why you're doing it or what you want to be doing in the game as it comes up. If whatever it is.
And dude, it's gonna feel silly.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
It's gonna feel so silly.
But eventually when that person who's been lurking in your channel decides to say something, it's all worth it. Because now you've got actual interaction. So now you need to be paying attention to chat. And that is the next big thing, is getting comfortable with your chat.
Yeah, man, I think it's a big part of it though, man. Is talking to yourself feels weird, but you gotta act like at any moment someone might come in there and see you. And if they come in, because I don't know what the statistic is, I've heard it somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure the stat is somewhere between 5 and 15 seconds that someone makes their judgment on you if you're worth watching or not. And so if someone comes in and you're already not talking and you don't notice that they're there to start talking within 5 to 15 seconds, then you've already failed. You've already lost it. So to get ahead of that and to take that out of the equation of instead of you noticing them, you just start talking all the time, you eliminate that factor entirely. If you're already on it, there's no, like playing catch up. There's no, noticing somebody and then trying to be impressive. If you just start doing your own thing, man, and someone comes in and they notice that and they're just going to enjoy you for you being you, best thing you can do for yourself. It's the most organic and most solid way to grow.
It's about 85% of all viewers will come in and lurk before they decide to talk. And you need to give them that reason to say hello.
Yeah, and on Twitch it's even more important because the zero latency is a thing on Mixer, but on Twitch.
Do not call out lurkers.
Oh, that's where you're going with that? Yeah, no, it's a brutal thing, guys.
That just kind of popped into my head. I wasn't going for that, but as I said it, that came in. Calling out lurkers is the best way to get them to leave, because if they're not saying anything, it's because they don't want to.
Yeah, and to be clear, for those who may not know what we're talking about with lurkers here, lurkers are just people that, they're watching your content, but they don't talk a whole lot in chat. I'm really guilty of it. I was a big long time lurker, pretty much the entire time I watched streams on Twitch, and I still watch streams on Twitch, but I gotta say now I'm a little more active because I know how much it means to the streamer. But like lurkers, there's a lot of people. Think of it this way, guys. How often do you guys just play games and you don't say a word, right? So how often you watch TV and you don't say a word, right? No one expects you to be different from watching a TV to watching a stream if you don't want to. So with that said, like, if you're watching TV, you're watching a stream and you don't want to be bothered, the most toxic thing, or not toxic, maybe it's not the worst thing, the right word there, but it's the most detrimental thing you could do to your growth and to that viewer, that relationship with that viewer, is, break their immersion in your stream, and by whispering them and saying, hey man, I see you, or like, yo, hey dude, how you doing? And you could have all the right intentions, right? You could have all the best intentions, being like, hey man, I just want to say I appreciate you being on my channel, thank you for taking the time. That's awesome and all, but that person didn't want to be bothered, so they're gone. And that sucks.
One of the things that I always used to do is I would never call anybody out, but every once in a while, I would act like I've got somebody in chat. They may not be talking. Hey, I want to appreciate everybody that's say to everybody that's here. I appreciate you being here. There's a million other streams that you could be in, literally a million other streams, but you're hanging out here. I appreciate your viewership. I'm going to step away for just a second and go do whatever. I'll be right back. It's that right there tells whoever's there, okay, you appreciate them being there, even if they're not saying anything.
Yeah, like you're not calling them out directly. You're just saying like, hey, whoever you may be, however many of you there may be.
Lurkers are the backbone of growth.
Yeah, I agree.
They are the backbone of growth.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is everyone wants interaction, but it takes time to build there, and you really have to earn the interaction, and you have to start the right conversation. How many times do you see somebody in the middle of the street and you start a conversation? That's what it's like to stream. You're just some stranger on the internet. They don't have, they don't owe you anything. They don't need to talk to you as much as you are craving their interaction, or maybe you want their interaction of some form of like approval. Like you have to earn that, and you earn that by just being a quality person that they want to interact with, and by being engaging with, even without begging for their direct engagement. So it's nothing. I don't think anything wrong with saying, hey guys, I just want to say to all the viewers, thank you for hanging out, watching, appreciate you guys, thanks for all the support, means a lot. Or like, hey man, what do you guys think about this gun? Anybody have any thoughts about like the I guess when I was playing Destiny 1, man, I would always ask like, hey, what's everybody's favorite sniper? Or like, hey, what's everybody's favorite exotic? Or like, what's everybody's favorite map? Like in Call of Duty, what's your favorite loadout? Yep. And PUBG right now, what's your favorite gun? What's your favorite
bring
drop?
in questions to encourage interaction without calling names.
Yeah, I'd say the best thing people can do though is like, if someone's checking out your channel, they're probably more there for the game, or maybe for the title, or maybe for the funny way you look. It doesn't matter. Ask questions about the game you're playing, because to some degree somebody cares about that game a little bit, at least enough to either ask a question to you back about it, or you ask a question to them, they're gonna be like, oh dude, why are you doing this thing? You could totally do it this way. So if you ask like, hey man, what's your favorite drop in PUBG, someone may go, yo dude, I love Millie or die. and you're gonna be like, oh really, you like melee? Why do you like military? And they're gonna be like, yeah, I just like the nonstop gameplay. I don't really care for the win. I just want to shoot people. Okay, that's valid. Cool, right on, man. Yeah, I don't really drop melee as much because I'm not that good, so I'm gonna drop somewhere else. And like it starts a conversation.
What do you think about the Severny drop? Like, I mean,
yeah, yeah, you can be like, hey man, yeah, I really don't drop a melee. I drop all the way in Kamishki. I drop all the way Zarky, and they're gonna be like, oh dude, like that's hilarious. You drop all the way Zarky. Only noobs good at Zarky. And you're like, yeah, dude, I'm a noob. Like that's literally an engagement that you could actually have with somebody. That whole conversation right there is literally something that could happen, but you don't know if you don't ask the questions.
It's the beginning of rapport.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally building a relationship with somebody, and it really, I mean, I'd say the easiest way to start a conversation is by asking a question. What do you think? Like, this isn't like, I'm not telling, like, maybe like if you know something that might be really helpful. Like lately, people don't know how to zoom in on an 8x scope on Xbox. So like, you know, I've been pushing that on my stream like crazy. Like, hey guys, if you guys know this thing, this is a super handy feature on Xbox. Do it. That starts a conversation of like, yo, bro, how'd you do that? Like, how do you do that thing?
Yeah, but like, and then there's that super secret code to walk through the fence.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If you guys don't know, there's a fence at a hospital on Xbox. You can just run through it. No one. I did it on stream the other day. I was on Hype Zone or something. And it was like 200 people didn't know you could just run through the fence. So I was like, okay, guys, put in the secret input code. And I was like, up, down, left, right, punch, punch, put away the gun, drop the gun, pick it back up. And then I ran through the fence. And they were like, bro, what the hell? They were like, you can just like, yo, he just hacked. And like, yeah, it started a conversation. It's pretty funny. But like, anyway, though, like
stupid stuff like that, which is why I brought it up, is also something that can create a conversation with a lurker.
Yeah. So that's true. I got a lot of interaction. People were like, "Bro, how'd you do that? How'd you run through that fence?" And actually, I don't think I ever told them that it's just a thing you can do. I think I told them it was a secret code. But you know what I mean? Like if you do something like that. Yeah, exactly, dude. I just put in my Game Shark. I installed my Game Shark. It's on my Xbox, bro. And then you know, that's how I did it. But no, man, it's like, you know, like being funny. There's nothing wrong with being silly. Nothing wrong with being dumb. There's nothing wrong with, you know, deciding not to go for the win and going for the pan kill. You know, if you think that that's what you want to do. If you want to say, screw it, man, I don't really care for the win. I just want to get this pan kill, and you go for it and you fail, at least you can, you know, play up the way you did it. It's just, I think a big thing is don't take streaming too seriously. I think a lot of people, they'll grind themselves into the ground as content creators and as just players by just taking the game too seriously. Yeah, I mean, like my biggest thing is, you know, I played Siege for, you know, 2 years. And I still play it a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like it's a game I played for a long time, and towards the end of it, I stopped wanting to play it for fun.
Of course, you stop playing it when I start playing it.
Well, I think I'll play it on PC still because PC is still new to me, but I've been playing on Xbox for 2 years. And so my big thing is, like, for me, the only way I want to play Siege on Xbox anymore is competitively. So I started taking the game super seriously, which means my stream went from being like this really fun, interactive, just like, you know, low-key place to be, to being like this super hyper competitive game. And I did the same thing to PUBG a little bit, you know, like if I was in a day where like I just wanted to get a ton of wins, because, you know, who doesn't want to win, then like I stopped interacting with chat as much. And it has its drawbacks, man. But at the same time, like I was at a point where I could do those things and not suffer from it because I already had my core, you know, friends there, you know, the friends I made through streaming. So if they knew I was just being really intense, it wasn't a big deal. And if I had someone else new come into chat, chances were they saw somebody else talking about, you know, actually, I don't know why cooking recipes are a big thing in my channel, but cooking recipes. So someone might come in and see why so-and-so is talking about breakfast burritos, and they're going to be like, yo, dude, I know this really bomb breakfast burrito recipe, and you should totally do it.
So and like, on the note of him not being very active with chat, is another thing when it comes to streaming. He can do that, and he can afford to not be as vocal with chat or keep an eye on chat as well because of his mods, myself included, along with the entire team. He can trust us to be able to handle his chat and keep it the way that we know he would. And that's something that you need to think about when you're giving people the power, because it's exactly what it is. I mean, it's power being a mod. It's also work, and it's stressful. But you need to be careful who you're giving that to. You need to make sure that those people are people that you can 100% trust and that are able to keep your channel in a position that you would want it to be.
Yeah, I think the big
without
thing,
you having to step in every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, here's the big thing is like when I started streaming, man, you know, my friends were just my real life friends, you know, my friends from high school and such, the friends I grew up playing ball with, they were my mods. And, you know, I started streaming, it was like my roommates were my mods, you know, and it was one of those things where like, I was like, hey man, you know, do you mind checking out my channel every now and then? Just give me a viewership, bump me up in the directory, something like that, you know, because that's how everyone starts, man. If you guys want to get, you know, exposure, best thing you can do, it took me months to really admit this, because, you know, sometimes I felt like streaming was like this thing I had to hide when I first started streaming until it was successful from some people, you know what I mean? Like my parents didn't want to hear that I was spending 20 hours playing video games streaming when I could have been, you know, spent more time in the gym, or I could have spent, you know, like more time being anything else really. And it was something they wanted to brag about. So like I felt like I had to hide it. So I only told certain friends about it, which means like those certain friends became mods eventually when I felt like I needed them. And it was fine when I first started out because, you know, like streaming was just this bullshit thing I was doing where I was like, yeah, man, like I don't care. Let's like if you were a moderator and you spam my chat with like, you know, like some sort of bullshit copy pasta, it was funny because no one cared, because like that was the mentality of my stream at that time. Nowadays, like if my same friends were also like, they're not mods anymore, but if they were also mods and they came in and did that, like it would be one of those things where I'd just ignore it because it's not where I want my content anymore. And there's nothing wrong with either way. It's just my direction changed.
Yeah, I mean, and your channel's going to grow and evolve.
Yeah, and like the thing is, wherever you guys, however you take your stream, it doesn't matter. If you want your stream to be this bullshit, you know, no man's land of rules and you just want everything goes, that's perfectly fine. Screw it. It's your stream. You can do whatever you want. But there's nothing wrong with changing the mentality and narrative and direction of your stream, which is what I did. My stream went from being a no man's land of whatever is said goes as long as it's not like derogatory or racist, to being this thing where I just want healthy conversation. I don't care if you guys say, you know, people can say I suck, that's fine, it's chat, I don't care. But no one, like, I don't want a bunch of copy pasta taking up half the chat screen because they think it's funny. I want to delete it because I want to get back to the conversation about so-and-so's having about something else. So when, like, what I'm saying to that, the whole point is, however you want to lead your channel, make sure that your moderators are on the same page. And if they aren't, just have a conversation about it, like, you know, why you want it that way, and if they can't get on board, they don't need to be a moderator. It's your channel ultimately. And even if this is like a close friend, because like in my case, when I unmodded my buddies, I did it like as a ghost. You know, like they weren't around, I didn't talk to them about it, I just unmodded them. And then they came in, like, because they weren't around for a while, so they came in like months later, and they were like, yo bro, it's kind of messed up, I'm not a mod anymore. And I'm like, where you been for the last 2 months? And I was like, you want to be a moderator just when you feel like it? And I was like, and you want to come in here and you want to spam copy pasta? Nah. And it's like, it was just one of those things where, like, you know, it wasn't a big deal, but it was something like, you know, my goals changed. And so we had this conversation where I was like, yo man, like, I love you guys, but my channel isn't just a place where you guys can just fuck around and crack jokes. Like, my stream is something that, you know, like other people in the chat value. It's something I value. And so, you know, like, your moderators, they can be whatever you want. They can be whoever you want. If your channel is all about whatever, do it. But just make sure that your moderators aren't bringing you down, because
yeah, I mean, make sure that they're able to keep your chat in a condition that you would want to keep it if you were moderating it yourself.
Yeah,
they need to be an extension of your will. And if people are being disrespectful to the mods, make sure that you step in and that people know that's not okay.
Yeah, don't let your mods just be punching bags. Two things, man, is like, I think will is kind of like you're like a mods is an extension of your will. Personally, I feel like might be a bit of a strong way to phrase it, but it's not that it's wrong. I think it just might be a strong way to phrase it. But to be honest, man, like they're an addition. Like, they should be doing what you kind of, you know, direct and what you want. But to a greater point, like, how many times have my mods done something I don't necessarily want them to do all the time? But it's because they're my buddies and they're part of the show, though, man. And like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, my mods don't do everything that I want. They do some trolly things, but that's because my real life buddies also do trolly shit to me, and I think it's hilarious. So
let's not bring me into this.
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan, looking at you. But that's what I'm saying, is there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, your show doesn't have to be like this clear, clean cut, you know, like, production. You know, like, you want some spontaneous interaction in there. So like, if I do something dumb on stream and someone booms it, and I'm gonna be like, oh, you son of a bitch, you know, like not everyone wants that. And but you know, for me, like I think it's hilarious. Or if I'm talking some shit about like, you know, about like Hannah or something, like that's my girlfriend. If I'm saying, yeah, Hannah was on my shit, coming in here with her cold toes up my t-shirt, greasing me off, and then they boom it and then they show it to her later. It's kind of funny because they're busting my balls, but it's, you know, like that sort of interaction is what I encourage. I want people to be like, you know, giving me shit and bringing it back. And so that's what I encourage. And as long as my mods are on that same page of like that authentic interaction, like my stream feeling more like we're hanging out with buds and we're shooting the shit, you know, over a video game, rather than being like this formal production I want people to sit down and shut up to. Like that's my mentality personally.
Yeah, and that's a good way to be. And honestly, that mentality is what people should kind of emulate, because you don't want your channel to feel rigid. You want it to feel relaxed. You want it to feel like a place that people want to go, because it's relaxing, it's entertaining, and excuse me, and it should be a place that people want to go.
Yeah, and I say I use relaxing really loosely here, guys, because we say relaxing as like it should be some like your stream should be a place that someone wants to spend their time and leisure to hang out in. But if your content is geared competitively, there's nothing wrong with making your content edge on the seat exciting the entire time. The core is, though, you know, if you want to grow your brand as a streamer, you know, if you just want to stream and shoot the shit, that's fine. But if you want to grow your brand as a streamer and a content creator, then you need to focus on being entertaining and, you know, building on your strengths. If your strengths is that, you know, you're a nonstop talker and you happen to be, you know, like pretty decent at a game, build on that. Be a nonstop talker, and that's me. I never say I'm good at games. I say I'm damn decent. So, you know, if you can talk a lot and you're damn decent at something, then do that. Build on that. But if you're a super competitive player and you're not very talkative, then, you know, I think that's a harder thing to do. I think very few people do that really well. But what they excel in is the competitive gameplay. So build on that. You know, like
and not to say that people can't build a community around being not so talkative but an incredible person who's amazing at the game. Let's bring up Cabby. Prime example of that. Doesn't really talk much, interacts with chat a little bit, but most of his gameplay is competitive and focused.
Yeah, I mean, Cabby's always going for the win, and so are all his boys, but I do think Cabby does what he does differently. Like, he may not talk to chat directly as much as he used to, because he still does. Like, when he has,
yeah, I mean,
he used to have, like, this morning coffee stream where he would, like, because if you don't know, Cabby's also, like, a video game developer, and I'm not at liberty to talk about what he does anymore, because I know his game was picked up by a developer, but what I can say is that, you know, when he had those smaller streams, man, like nowadays his streams are like, you know, several hundred people. When they were only like maybe 50 or 60 people and, you know, we'd be in there, he was very much engaged with chat, and he still is. But the way he engages with chat now is through like his interactive soundboard on Mixer, or the way he entertains chat. It may not be like directly talking to them, but it's either through his gameplay, or it's through doing a double backflip on a, you know, motorcycle, you know what I mean? Or it's through, you know, him talking shit to Bink, who's making fun of Hands Off, who's all picking on Taste. You know what I mean? Like, these are all other streamers and friends. You know, like, they're all doing something interactive together, and that feeds back into the stream. But Cabby still interacts with his stream. It's just, it's a different form.
So, I mean, like I said, I mean, don't think that you can't be successful with little bits of interaction. You can 100% do that. If you have the strength in the gameplay to be able to draw people in.
Yeah, I mean, I just say like that's the big thing, is identify yourself as a person, a content creator, and a gamer, and build on that to, you know, make something amazing. I think that's the key factor there.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Jonathan, I know we're kind of running out our time. We're aiming for our podcast to be like an hour is the goal. Not that it has to be. So I guess I'm wondering, there's a lot of stuff we can still hit on, but you want to save it for next time?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've hit a good bit, a lot of information. I mean, just kind of like a recap of what we talked about a little bit. You don't need a massive setup to be able to stream.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be like everything.
You're fine with just your console. You don't need a camera. You don't need a camera. Personally, I don't use a camera. I used to. I feel more comfortable without it, but that's a personal preference thing.
Yeah, I've always used a camera, but it's mainly because I think without a camera, you have to be engaging in different ways. And when you have a camera, you know, it's already inherently a little, you know, like it raises the bar as far as like, if I'm doing nothing, at least they see me. that form of engagement exists. But yeah, like, you know, like so, just don't focus on like the quality of production when you're starting out. Focus on the quality of, you know, you being a person, you as a streamer. Focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. And don't worry about having the most expensive, dreamy setup, and don't worry about who you're not, you know, like you're not meeting numbers like so-and-so, and don't compare yourself to other content creators.
Yep. So, I mean, and, you know, you've got all of your information. See, if you're, whether you're using OBS. Jonathan. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
So, yeah, I mean, you've got all your basic softwares and stuff that we've talked about, you know, your XSplit, your OBS, your Elgato captures in the stream and whatnot. So, I mean, it's going to be a matter of whatever you are comfortable using, whatever you're able to use, and, you know, how to interact with respectfully with yourself and the community.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I think that about does it for this episode.
Yeah, and I know we talked a lot. I think I went on tangents a little bit there, guys. Some of the stuff we wanted to save for later, we kind of got into as far as like, you know, quality networking and things like that. But and hardware, we talked a little bit about hardware, and we want to save that to be its own dedicated episode. But these are things we'll probably hit on again because it's such a reoccurring topic. It's such an important thing, you know, properly networking, properly marketing your brand.
Yeah, these are the teasers for what's to come.
Yeah, and like it won't always be like this. For instance, you know, like I think it's a good question to start out, you know, because it's a conversation that we always have as content creators among each other. You know, like how can we improve? But also, you know, like when we started streaming, it's funny to look back on it. But a lot of people ask, you know, like how do I get started? This is the series we want to start to address that question. And eventually, you know, this could develop to be 1,000 different things, man. This could be a platform that we use to talk about just gaming news in general. We can use to talk about, you know, up and coming stuff and the streaming stuff, assets. I mean, you know, whatever it is, man, you know, or we just talk about it, just document our experience as content creators. We can just use this as a your boy 100%, Jonathan.
We'll definitely be talking about just video games in general.
Yeah,
like if there's something new coming out, we want to talk about it. We want your opinion on it. We're definitely going to bring it up, and we're going to ask what you think.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing though, guys, is like we want this to be a platform that everyone has a say in. And like, you know, if you guys liked what we hit on at some points and you guys didn't like how we address things on other points, let us know. Like, let us know how we can improve, and also let us know the content you want to see. And the biggest thing though, I think one of the things we're really playing with is that this first episode was done offline between me and Jonathan in Discord, but we're playing with the idea of doing this live on stream, maybe in the form of a co-stream, or just doing this live between one of our channels, and you know, getting feedback from chat, maybe even pulling people in, you know, as guests in form, either as other content creators, just having a conversation with all of us, or maybe even pulling in if chat has questions. There's 1,000 different ways we can do this. There's 1,000 different ways of inspiration. If I could just say something, if you guys are curious about how to become better content creators, I would just like to put out a little spill out there for checking out Ask Broman, checking out WASD, the channel. She's a YouTube content creator. Check her out on YouTube. There's 1,000 different like things out there. One geared towards Bailey Bomb, giving advice on how to be a streamer, several different things on how to be a quality content creator. A lot of it's geared towards Mixer, but not exclusively. So I recommend, you know, those are two people near and dear, you know, my interests and my heart, that I think will give you sound advice on how to become better content creators. So please check them out. That's Broman, Professor Broman on Twitch. Ask Broman is his podcast series, and then WASD, the channel on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, in 100%, I mean, take the advice that these people have, and make it your own, because your content needs to be like you. It's going to be unique like you. So find your strength, figure out what you need to improve on, and build on it. Yeah. And the quality will come in time.
Or in different forms, you know, maybe your quality, you know, focus on what you can do, and it'll all come later. But yeah, we're gonna end it here, guys. So you'll catch us later. We don't really know when the next podcast is gonna come out. It's one of those things where, like, if you guys want to see it sooner or later, let us know. Yep. And whatever forums this is at, because I think we're still playing with like YouTube, Discord, it's Google something. I don't really know what else out there. SoundCloud, Spotify. If that's even an option.
Yeah, I mean, and if you guys are interested in checking us out on stream, we're going to be leaving our links underneath in the description, where you can find either of our streams and how to get it with our Discord. to talk about the podcast. If you've got any kind of ideas, that's the place to submit and discuss.
Oh yeah, actually, guys, Twitter would be a really great asset too. I'm
Yep,
at Who's
yeah,
Your
there
Boy
you
Mixer, at Infctdgrndzro, no vowels but the O in zero. You'll hit us up. It'll all be linked below.
Yep, I mean, and you know, if you were paying attention, if you're not just listening, you're sitting down watching, the screens that have been rotating across will have all of that information as well.
Yeah, I think at this point we're just rambling, huh?
All right, guys. So yeah, that's probably a good place to cut it then.